Hey, if you for some reason clicked on this episode to listen to a cohesive discussion, first off, it's fucking Garfield, so I don't know why you would expect that. And two, please leave and listen to another episode of Campy Cast. And stay tuned for our next episode where we will partially discuss Donald Trump's near death experience. Now, on with the show. 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, Garfield and friends. No, 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 no. Friends are there to help you get started, to give you a push on your way. Friends are there to turn you around, get your feet on the ground for a brand new day. They'll pick you up when you're down. Help you swallow your pride when something's inside. Gotta break on through to the other side. Friends are someone you can open up to when you feel like you're ready to flip up, up, up. When you've got the world on your shoulders, friends are there to give you a tip. Friends are there when you need them. They're even there when you don't. For a walk in the park, for a shot in the dark. Friends are there. I don't care, but friends will care for you. I can't sing, but you know what? I fuck it. This is a stupid episode, so we're gonna open it
Who
in a
gives a
stupid way.
shit
Hi,
anymore?
everybody. Yeah.
Welcome to Campy Cast with probably one of the dumbest ideas for an episode we've ever
This
thought of.
this may be the worst one we've ever done, but
It might be
you
what I
know.
mean. Like I think it's gonna be a fun. I think it's gonna be a
Yeah.
fun one. Now you clicked on this episode, and like first off, if you
Jim
clicked on this
Davis.
episode, um, well, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to us talk about the Garfield lore, the Garfield
I'll
movies.
be fair here. Garfield is one of my idols in a sense. Where see, Garfield was created by a good man, my Lord and Savior Jim Davis. Made he was a funny guy. He wanted to make a comic strip, and it's lasted to this day. You check the newspaper. If you read the newspaper, you probably don't, but if you have a newspaper, I think your little feline cat will show up, and he'll make a little quip about something or other. Garfield's not a very funny character, but that's kind of why you like him. You know, he's an adorable little guy. He loves lasagna. He hates his Mondays. He kicks his dog off the table, and John Arbuckle wants to kill himself every comic, and that's the fun of Garfield. Really, Garfield is one of my favorite characters in the sense where at a certain point I kind of got ironically obsessed with him because he's a very easy guy to like laugh at. Like he's so unfunny, he kind of loops himself around to being funny. But also there's stuff to appreciate with him for real. And I don't think the real the real film industry has taken proper advantage of Garfield's strengths as a thematic
As
character. But
we
we'll
will
get
learn
into that.
today,
Get into
yeah.
that. I have
Um,
a I have a speech I've lined up for this that I'm really excited to share with you all at home. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. First of all, we gotta get right into the news. Bow, bow,
Yeah,
bow.
before
Where?
okay, also I need to say something before we talk
Yeah,
about the main piece of news today. So, we are recording this like I want to say around 3 days or whatever. I'm not counting the days
yeah.
recently. After we recorded last episode, which was the Fantasia one with PSI user. The reason we're doing this and how we recorded this like so quickly after the last one um is because like one of us here, Max, is going on vacation for like
That's me.
about a month. So we kind of have to.
Yeah,
We
I will
decided to
be
record
gone
one
for
more
yeah, I'll
episode
be
before he
gone for
leaves.
half the summer, dear Campicast viewers, our loyal audience. It's gonna be pretty cool, but obviously conditions there, time zones and everything Not great for recording a podcast. So
Yeah.
we'll be off for probably after this one. I have no idea when Anthony's gonna drop this. Maybe on a Monday if it's funny enough. But
Yeah.
um,
Uh,
point is, by the time I get back, you'll probably expect the next episode after this will be in like late August. So fret not, dear Campy Cat viewers. There will still be time for more episodes then,
yeah.
and I'm sure we will
Next
drop more
episode
banger.
we'll probably have like I know, like by the time I probably drop this episode, maybe the current news that we are thinking about right now, maybe there's been more news since then, so we'll probably might have
Mhm.
missed some, but we'll try and
Yeah,
cover that up in the
probably.
next episode. So next episode, we'll probably have a pretty big news segment, so look forward to that depending on how much happens in the next month. But we'll see. Anyways, I guess getting into the actual news. We have, I
Mhm.
guess, one of the main things is that Shrek 5 has finally been announced. Now, very inconsistent as per usual with new releases and trailers, but every now and again, I'd say it's good to kind of briefly talk about them, you know? So, Shrek 5 is
Yeah, yeah,
officially
I got
happening.
you, G. I got you, King. Shrek 5, that was just draw, which is very funny because our chuckle fucks over at DreamWorks. They were like they always announce things so weirdly, and they're always so weird about it. But randomly, they were just like, here's the Shrek 5 release date, by the way. Go nuts. And it's funny
It
because
dropped it in
we've
the
known
most
about a
casual
Shrek
way
5.
possible. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's hilarious. And the thing is, we've known about a Shrek 5 for a while now. They've had it in the cards, probably I want to say 2018. They've teased, but it's one of those things where like it's announced, but it's not really like confirmed. Like they're just kind of like, here it is,
exactly.
here it is.
There's
But it's like,
like,
is it really? And
is
it's
it
kind of
happening?
well,
Who knows? Is
is
it?
it or is
Because
it really? You're
it's
just
been a
bullshitting me.
mystery, but I'm pretty sure it almost like kind of confirmed it with Puss in Boots 2 when they teased the return of the characters.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, because they were like, we're going a far, far away, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, does that mean we're gonna see our boy Shrek oiled up in 4K?" But
well, damn it.
point is,
Um,
point is, point is, um, I'm not very ironically excited for Shrek 5. I'm curious,
I'm very
but
curious to
I
see what they
feel
do
like
with this.
there's not really much you can really, I think, go with
Yeah,
it.
I'm
Like,
yeah, like it feels like the
I know
last
everyone.
film ended things pretty well. So at this rate,
Yeah.
it's like, where do you go from here exactly, you
Yeah,
know?
I know everyone dick rides Shrek 4 because of Daddy Shafe, but really
Oh my God.
there's a solid ending there, I think, that you could have like, okay, we're good. And it was like that for a while, and I know now it's funny fucking Jeffrey Katzenbugs, his idea was he wanted there to be like 5 Shreks. I don't know if you know about this. Have you known about this,
I
Anthony? He
think I've heard
wanted
about
like
that, yeah. I think
yeah,
there
when
were
Shrek 1 was happening, he wanted it to be like a 5 film saga, but obviously stuff changes over time, things kind of morph. And now we're where we're at now, where it's like, well, it doesn't make sense for a Shrek 5th Shrek, but DreamWorks is poor. They're in desperate need of money.
this is gonna
A
make
little
so
little
much money.
tap,
Like
little
Shrek is
goal.
such an
Oh, it's gonna
iconic
like,
brand to the
we are gonna
point where
become money. And you know what? I'll be there just to say it's mid or bad or
I
ass or
hope
whatever
it's
it is.
at
I
least
know some
fun.
people. Yeah, I hope so. And I know the fucking people are like, well, the last wish was good, so maybe Shrek 5 will fall. So I don't know. I'm not that hopeful.
I'm not
I
sure.
always like
We'll
to
see.
I always like to be pessimistic about new releases because if they're ass, you're not sad, and if they're good, you're pleasantly surprised. Always be pessimistic when it comes to movies and nothing else. Lesson at home for your kids. But yeah, Shrek 5, we'll see. I'm very curious, at least. Well, I don't know how it's gonna go from there. And yeah, I think that's all the real news for
Yeah.
the time. The only other thing is, I guess, fucking well, yeah, oh, yeah, it was funny. Kanye West retired, then he unretired himself. It was pretty funny. Like, what is bro
I
doing?
saw a
Yeah.
photo of that. I thought that was a meme. I didn't know that was
I
actually
thought it
happened.
was too. I was like, Kanye really? But no, he didn't.
Yeah.
Well, Kanye is a pretty funny guy. I think Anthony over here might be a little
I'm
scared
a,
of him, but well, but anyway, now we're here to discuss the the feature films of this this episode. Six movies, all focused on our favorite little feline. Isn't that right, Anthony?
Yeah,
You love
Garfield.
Garfield at
The
home.
very
Yeah,
first Garfield
Garfield.
movie in the Garfield saga,
Yeah,
2004. I
yeah,
think most
2004.
getting into the story of this, I'm pretty sure most people who know about this movie know about the story with Bill Murray as Garfield.
Yeah, yeah, the fucking Bill Murray story. This is an iconic tale where Bill over here was like, "All right, I gotta see how this is turning out, right?" Because our boy Bill is like, "Okay, Coen Brothers from the Big Lebowski, I'll sign on to this." So he took his little hand and he signed his little contract. But then he was like, "Oh no, not Joel Cohen." Or there was like Ethan Cohen, or it was like Ethan Cohen without the H, it was an E,
It was
and
Joel Cohen, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
oh Joe, well, one of those guys, and it was like, oh no, this is the guy behind Garfield, and then eventually Holmes and Watson and shit. So Bill was like, ah, damn, we're cooked, boys. He even makes fun of this in the fucking Zombieland movie, and I was like a joke about this, like,
What's your
he's like, what's your
biggest
biggest
regret,
regret, Bill
Garfield?
Murray?
I've seen that
Yeah,
clip. Yeah, I
Garfield,
didn't know
maybe.
where it was
It's very
from
funny.
though.
The point is, I would actually side with my boy Bill on this one because Garfield, 2004, is just a disgrace to the entire franchise. Because see, so much characterization issues. They really ruin the spirit of Garfield, I think, and a lot of this comes down to the characterization of John Arbuckle, who I'd argue is the most essential character in the Garfield franchise. And the like practically acolyte tier assassin character assassinated him. Where so it gets over to the plot of this one. We follow our favorite furry feline, Garfield, and this uh his whole thing, right, where basically he's living at home. He's living the big life. He's
In
eating his
the
lasagna. He's hating
cul-de-sac,
his
as he
buns.
calls it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He looks ugly as sin, I will say. Like Jesus Christ,
Classic
he looks like
shitty 2000
he looks
CG,
like
yeah.
he looks like an orange shit, honestly. I don't like that they try to make him look like a realistic cat while still being kind of cartoonish because he looks
The
disgusting.
weirdest
The
thing,
point
one of
is,
the weirdest things about this movie is how he's the only cartoon cat, and then everyone else, every other cat is just realistic. You know, the usual
yeah,
type of stuff you see in the 2000s where like their mouths move, but they don't emote at all, and it looks cursed as
exactly. Yeah,
hell.
yeah.
It's like,
It's
and then
so weird
Garfield
because
also looks bad, but he's like the only
yeah,
one who
Garfield's
can
the
have
only
any
one who
sort of
kind of looks
expression.
like the other one is really animated, but he still looks disgusting too. So it's like,
Yeah,
well,
not a
damned if you
particularly
do, damned
visually
if you don't.
pleasing film. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But point is, Garfield, this fucking fat tub of lard, who I'll get into why he works on a thematic level later.
Oh
But point
God.
is, John Arbuckle, right? He's like man, he's basically he keeps sending his fucking dog to the vet because he really wants to shag this bitch Liz, who I will get into the lore inconsistencies of in a bit. Don't you worry,
Jesus
people.
Christ.
But 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 anyway, so he talks to Liz and he's like, all right, Liz. He's gonna like propose something romantic, but he's like, I need you to take care of this dog, and because this bitch is really horny, he's like, all right, I'll take your dog, and then Garfield's got to deal with Odie, and this leads to the most iconic rivalry of all time, where Garfield really hates Odie, and Odie is really indifferent towards Garfield. And the rest of the movie really is clashing of characters. Garfield hates this guy. And in fact, I think at one point he even kicks him off the table, which he does in the comics. Or he doesn't do it correctly, which pissed me off. The
Mm.
point is, a bunch of stuff happens. Odie gets taken away because for some reason this guy played by Ned from Groundhog Day wants
Oh
him for his
yeah.
fucking business or whatever. He kidnaps him. Garfield's like, oh man, John's really sad, so I gotta save the day, even though it doesn't make sense character wise. The
It
lore is
doesn't make
messed
any
up.
sense because the entire movie he barely shows any sort of care for anybody else. Like, oh, boohoo, they
He
danced in
fucking
one
hates
scene.
everyone in this movie. It's wild.
I
Like,
think
see,
what's
I will.
weird as I'm not as big of a Garfield episode as expert as you are, obviously, but
Yes.
like I feel like I know some of the basics of it, you know, because like
Yeah. Well.
let's be honest, Garfield is the type of character that works in small doses, you know, small comic
Yeah.
strips, small
Garfield's
short
like
TV show episodes or specials and whatnot. he doesn't like work in a movie, and I feel like even the writers of this movie knew that, so they didn't really give a shit. And then
Mm.
the movie has barely a plot. It feels like nothing. There's like no
Exactly. See,
stakes.
this
Barely
is
anything
the
feels like is
this is
happening.
the whole thing with every fucking Garfield because Garfield, he's a comic strip character known for making simple little fucking catchphrases where he goes, "I hate Mondays, I love lasagna," and he'll like John will say something and Garfield make a smart aleck
I
and quote.
wonder where
That's
my
cute
pipe
for
could
like a
be.
fucking
Classic right
his
there.
thing that yeah, exactly. The pipe strip, the most iconic strip that was made good by Lasagna Cat's amazing 1 hour analysis. But point of Garfield,
Yeah.
right? Is see it's kind of cute to be like you see a little joke that it's like oh you see in you glance it at the newspaper it's cute. I was always much more of a big Nate guy when it came to comic strips, but regardless, it's a cute little time passer. But anyway, you want to do that into a movie? It's like what can you do? He has such little to him, in terms of like stories. Thematically, he has a lot to him, but we'll get to that in a sec. So the point is, you can't really do much with Garfield outside of like fucking the Nine Lives special, which is like an anthology thing, or the little 80s and 90s cartoons they did, because those are funny because they're like good old 20-minute intervals. Those are fun. But when you have to make Garfield into a movie, you kind of just have to bullshit because there's not much you can do. And as we will get to, all these movies kind of just do fucking bullshit, and it's just like, what? Excuse me? Pardon? You know, it gets wild and wild. And my whole point in here is that in this movie they fucking ruined the character of Garfield. And do you mind if I explain the intricacies of Garfield and John's like
Go
thematic like
go ahead.
parallel?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've explained this to this guy in private a bunch of times, and he never gets it. But I'll lay it out here because John Arbuckle is thoroughly character assassinated by this film, and I think a part of it is because Garfield and John Arbuckle have a real good yin and yang sort of dynamic. They're like two halves of the same coin. Because see, everyone wants to be like Garfield. Like he kind of is living the American dream. He's like he can do whatever he wants. He gets whatever food he wants. He says whatever comes to his mind because he's a cat. He gets to just lounge back, do whatever he wants. He is the king of society. Everyone if they could would be a Garfield. But deep down, we're all John Arbuckles because in the comics, John Arbuckle is pathetic. He's weird. He's sad. He's horrible romantically. No one loves him. Realistically, he'll die alone unless they
Jesus.
change that in the comics later, but that's like a side thing. The point is, the reason people love Garfield is because they relate to John. John is horribly sad, and people love that about him. That is what John Arbuckle is. But the fucking movie here, they ruin it by giving John Arbuckle a love interest in Liz, who Liz rhymes with Riz, which John doesn't have. You might know Liz, for in the comics, she's the vet who will make fun of John for being pathetic. Apparently, they changed this at some point in the comics. That's why I think they kind of went downhill. John Arbuckle should die sad and lonely. But my point is, by giving like Liz make him a love interest, it ruins the whole thing of John's character because he's not funny. Like he's like, oh, he's just like an average
Is he
quirky
just
lead. He
boring
gets the
now?
girl. Like, he's boring. There's nothing to him, and he's so lame in this. I hate it.
He's just
Like
a
this is
normal
fucking
guy
bit.
now instead of a miserable, pathetic
Exactly. It sucks. I hate it. There's this one
human
bit I
being.
actually do fucking hate where they're talking at the fucking where John's like he's stumbling over his words. He's like I don't do and then Liz is like oh that's so cute. If I had a crush on you back in high school, teehee. And then John goes well I did too. And it's like this isn't this can't be happening to me. Like it doesn't make sense. Like Liz would never do that. It's like totally rewriting the characters so you can fit general audiences. And even though I get it, just as a Garfield aficionado, it really pissed me off. Like, did you get me, Anthony? The characterization was just like, oh, it was terrible in this movie. I hated
I
it.
I guess
You know what I
from
mean?
my perspective, let me talk about my perspective a bit. This movie's ass. I hate it. It's a bad movie. I can't say that it's mainly just boring. I was not really that insulted by the Garfield mischaracterization, unfortunately. So so for me, this
Mhm.
movie was like, it feels my biggest issue is that like I said, there's just not much going on. It's just like a huge part of it is just Garfield just like messing with Odie and literally lets him get kidnapped. I think the
Yeah,
only thing I can say that I think I unironically like is I feel like despite Bill Murray clearly not giving a shit and just doing this, like there are times where like doesn't even seem like it feels like they just had him in a booth and then just got him to like say whatever he wanted to say that related to Garfield in some way.
he
And then it's
definitely this definitely feels like a paycheck movie. But I'll be fair here. Bill Murray's voice certainly fits Garfield, and I think
yeah,
he does a great
exactly.
job.
Because he
If
doesn't
any,
give a shit and it's just very like just done with stuff, you know? He's like very
yeah,
lazy. You know, it fits. It fits really well because Bill Murray's
exactly,
acting like that usually
100%.
acts like the guy who just doesn't really give a shit, which
Yeah,
fits
like
Garfield.
Bill Murray's performance is the Sam Raimi camera movements of Garfield. That it's the one redeeming factor. But like, he does great for the material, and and despite the fact that he was fucked over about it, I think he did a great job. But what I will say, the character like we talked about John's like character derailment and how the movie ruins what was once a iconic staple of pop culture. But you want to know who else is ruined? And he's ruined in all these movies, by the way. Um, Nermal is fucking destroyed in these Garfield movies. I hate the Nermal character assassination so much because for those unaware, Nermal is a character in the Garfield comics who our titular feline hates because he's so cute. And Garfield's like, I hate how he's so cute. I'm gonna kick him, and it's funny because it's animal abuse, and I love that. But point is,
What?
point is, um, but point in this live action film, all Garfield is like like the normal. He's all just fucking like just nice and like just a normal animal. So it leads me to believe why does Garfield torture him in this version? Cause he's just like a normal guy. Like what does Garfield just is he a sadistic animal killing fuck? Garfield's supposed to be us. I guess you could say in some level this does portray man's inherent want to commit evil and how man is inherently evil and how Garfield's doing this for nothing for his own sick pleasure. That I think could tie thematically into it, but I don't think the director of this thought
Something
hard
tells me
enough
that
about
wasn't
that.
intentional. That would have
No, it's
never
just
been
like something I
intentional.
picked up about it. But mm, yeah. Oh, this does lead to a really shitty joke though, where he traps Normal, and then Garfield goes, "Got milk," because that used to be
Yeah,
like
that
a
was fucking
commercial at the time.
stupid.
Got milk? Like, shut up.
Aha.
Uh,
It's
mhm.
yeah, it's like I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know how much I can really say because there's just so little happening in this movie. It just feels like it just has it's like I guess the writers did their best when making a film about Garfield, but this is literally the best they could do. And at the same time, I guess they did kind of like make things worse compared to what the comic strip was all about. So even though I'm not as passionate
Yeah.
about it,
Well,
I can understand where you're coming from at least.
yeah. It does piss me off from that character perspective because I feel like they just kind of like they just ruined it. Like these are such simple jokes to make, and they somehow still fuck them up. The only characters that I think are like because Liz and John and like Nermal are just ruined. This is my like Star Wars sequel trilogy, honestly. But um. Garfield is sort of intact, although they still kind of mess up parts of him. And I guess Odie is fun because Odie doesn't have a character. You can't really mess
He's
up the
just a
iconic
dog in this
dog.
movie.
Well, I will say, Odie's purpose in the plot is very skewed because I hate the fucking bit where they're at the like this show and like Odie's dancing on the hind legs and people are like, "Whoa, that's so wild!" And he gets all this fucking attention. Like, bro, it's just a dog standing on his fucking legs, man. It's not that cool. Hop off, man. Stop dick riding. You're just a curious guy. But like Garfield is I did not like that aspect of the movie at all, really.
Do
And
you
there were a
think
lot of scenes in this and jokes that I really hated. The worst joke in the movie, I think, is when fucking Groundhog Day guy, who's actually one of the only parts I actually like about this movie. I just like that actor, so he does a decent job for how shitty his role is. But point is, he's sitting on the train and he's like asking, he's like, I think it's like another thing of lasagna. I think it's like steak lasagna. He goes, "Oh no, I'll take the steak." I hate lasagna. And I'm like, shut up. That's so corny. Like, haha, the villain hates lasagna because
But
Garfield loves
Garfield
it. Ha,
likes
I'm so
lasagna.
quirky. Like, I hated that joke. That shit was
It's
ass,
stupid.
man.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
come
it's like
on.
they have no idea what to do with this villain. So oh, of course he hates lasagna. So now you know he's the villain of the movie because Garfield likes lasagna. It's like that's
Hmm.
stupid. It's like you could tell if that's like one of the main parts of the villain, then you could tell that it's like that how little there is to do with Garfield in a feature
Exactly, he
length movie.
sucks, and there's just so many, like there's so many scenes in this movie that genuinely pissed me off, and I really hated it. It was just, like, obnoxious sitting through. Like, there's just one bit where Garfield's, sitting on his chair, right? And, or I think it's like they're trying to find Odie, and Garfield's like, "Oh no, Odie's on the TV." So Garfield just kind of like trying to pull John over, and then just conveniently at the right second, he just so happens to miss it. Like, geez, call me Mahler, but I'm like that is too convenient for me. Like, really? Did he just miss it? Like, come on. Odie was on the TV and he barely did. And oh, can we talk about the dance battle scenes? What did you think of those,
I
Anthony? Because
hated those were so cursed.
dude, I hated them so much. Like,
Jesus.
first of all, they were disgusting. Like Garfield, like I'm being honest, I would genuinely like that is like the most on like just this most disgusting looking thing to look at. Like I wouldn't edge to that cat ever. Like, but
What?
my point is, but it's just like they do so many scenes that it was like, oh, they're having a wacky dance battle. It's funny because the cat's dancing. Garfield, I'm being so dead ass. Every time Garfield danced in this movie, I was like, this is disgusting. Like, stop. The way he moved, it made me really, it made me really uncomfortable. Like, I felt like just unwell looking at all that. And they're just, oh my God. There's so many just like white people jokes in this where it's like such a basic thing. Like, this is the part where Garfield, he's trying to like he was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go save Odie. And there's this joke that I hate it when stuff does where it's like Garfield's like, oh no, ugh, I'm so tired. I've been going for so long, and the joke is he's like just outside his house. Like, I hated that joke. It was so basic. Like, fuck off. It was it sucked. And oh my god. Well, actually, one thing I did hate is I hated his song. Garfield's like, oh no, John, he's
I find
about
that
me,
funny
but the
because halfway
bomb.
it sounds like Bill Murray's having a mental breakdown in the recording booth.
Yeah, it sounds so disgusting. I hated it.
He
And
just
there's
start
oh
it
my
like
god,
that sounds like he's genuinely crying. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
so like I
It
picture
was
him in the
yeah,
recording booth and I just start like laughing, but I also feel bad for him at the same time.
I felt horrible for Bill Murray being subjected to this horrible, horrible character performance that is being shown here. I just really did not appreciate a lot of the miswasted talent in this particular film. On all fronts, I just feel like there was a lack of respect for Garfield as a franchise. And it's like, look, I get it on some level. Like, he's not a very proper and prim character, but he has a lot to him, I think. He's just a curious guy. And, like, I think he has, like, a lot you could. Like, really, here's the thing. I'll lay this out now because I'm sure I would say this by the end of this video. My ideal Garfield movie is, like a sort of slice of life comic strip sort of thing where it's like nothing really happens, like a bunch of short isolated little stories, but you can do it. It's like it's cute because the character doing some stuff, no real overarching narrative, just a nice
That's never
simple
gonna
little
happen.
thing. I think it's never gonna happen, but it's what I want. Think
Yeah.
like Azumanga Daioh, My Neighbors the Yamadas, that sort of thing where it's like, very casual, very sort of light. But they're never gonna do that. They're doing these stupid big narrative plots, and honestly, I think it's a real misinterpretation of the character of Garfield, and I really just I did not like it. And there were so many moments in this movie where I feel like they just did not understand the source material, and it was just from a fan perspective, it was just really insulting to go through. Like the part where Garfield's climbing through the vents, it didn't make sense to me because Garfield's like fat. He wouldn't be doing things. He's very lazy. I didn't buy how eager and adventurous he was throughout this movie. It felt like a very poor
Mm.
version of what I liked out of the character. there were so many just like the bit where there's one bit that I thought was in really poor taste where the villain gets sexually assaulted at the end by all those animals and they play it off as a joke. Like I thought that was in really, you know what I'm talking about at the end where the villain's gathered by all the
Oh
animals.
yeah.
I thought I thought that was very it wasn't done in very good taste because like come on, that's not something you should
I
be
found
joking
it
about.
very well. I guess the last main thing I could mention is probably the fucking ending where Garfield decides to like fucking stop a bunch of trains, nearly starting a huge collision of trains with one another, nearly killing multiple
Yes,
people,
you
innocent
see.
people.
See, this is one of the bits that I'll give credit. It does play into some of the primordial fear of everyone wants to be Garfield, everyone wants to have that power in your hands to just cause all this anarchy. But I feel like they just didn't really play to that strength enough, and I feel
I'm
like there's
pretty
just
sure
a
they
lot
just
of.
thought it'd be funny if a cat just tried to a, nearly killed a bunch of innocent people
See, that's what I
just to
mean. I think
find
like
a
they were trying to
singular
play to that
dog on one of the
part of the
trains.
character, but that's my whole thing. I just did not like that, and there's one part that I did like where Garfield's channel surfing and you see 2 seconds of a Simpsons episode. And the one time I watched this with friends, I spent half of it trying to find out what that Simpsons episode was, only to find out it was season eight's The Canine Mutiny, which is a really underrated episode of The Simpsons because people are like, it's one of the weakest classic era episodes, but it has some great jokes. The bit with Mo and his floor gets repurposed. There's this great bit where Milhouse goes, "Why did I have the bowl, Bart? Why did I have the bowl?" And if you're wondering why I'm talking about a Simpsons episode and not Garfield, then to answer that, I'm going to say this movie has such little to talk about that have gone on a million tangents that have nothing to do with anything. So
That's a
fuck
good point.
Garfield 2004. It's like it's a terrible movie, and I think honestly it ruined the franchise. Because you want to know why people hate Garfield so much? Because it's one of the biggest Garfield pieces of media, and they totally derailed everything that's just so sacred and so appreciative about this like feline. Like what did they do to it? Like just so much just blatant misunderstanding of everything. No real proper care for the comic strip. No good jokes. I just felt like the people over at Fox, they really just didn't get Garfield, and it made me really frustrated to see because I really wanted the character to be treated well, but I don't know. I feel like my boy Jim Davis, he didn't really get to play his character that well. Maybe he was too focused on bringing back U.S. Acres, but we can't be sure. And because of that, do you have much more to say on this movie? Because
No,
I feel like
no.
I'm okay. Because I'll say this now. Um, if I think Garfield is a 2 out of 10 movie, but my emotional experience is -1 billion, then I think it's fair, if not generous, to give it a 1 out of 10. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
And what would you give it, Anthony?
I have it
Uh,
at like a three, a low 3 out of 10.
really, a three. You have to tell me why. Why is it so high?
I mean,
Like,
I just like I don't know. It's just such a
hmm.
like if this wasn't if we weren't doing every single Garfield movie, I feel like I just would never want to talk about this one specifically. But I don't
I don't know.
know.
I have a lot to say about this movie, and I think I really I could really break down why, from a character perspective, it just falters. But I get what you mean. It's not a shower in terms of anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll say this is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But on the overall Garfield ranks, it scores a little higher than other
We'll
ones.
get to
But
that
anyway,
later. Next is the
we just
iconic sequel, Garfield: A
yeah,
Tale of Two
Garfield, A
Kitties.
Tale of Two Kitties, which, if you don't know, I have a really shameful arc with this movie where I used to give it an ironic 10 for my bit. But you know what? Now I've gone the opposite way, and it is a 1 out of 10 train wreck. Sorry, I spoiled my rating, but we'll get to it. So, Garfield 2, directed by Tim Hill, who you may know for such films as Pop, Alvin and the Chipmunks. And he's been a real staple of this channel, actually, because we've covered two other Tim Hill movies, Sponge on the Run and Muppets from Space. He's been a reoccurring director on our podcast, actually, which is very funny. But Yeah, Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties, revolves around John Arbuckle's intending sense for pussy. Because basically, at the end of the last one, John and Liz got together and actively screamed at my TV. It's how people felt when a Palpatine came back, a Rise of Skywalker, just a complete derailment. But um, point is in this new one, our boy John, he's gonna propose the question. He's like, I gotta do it. I gotta say it. I gotta marry Liz, even though it doesn't make sense. And then Liz is like, I'm going to the UK, and he's like, cool. Wait, what? And then they're like, all right. I gotta. Then they fucking pack their bags. They go to the UK. Garfield and Odie somehow sneak on somehow. But at the same time, this cat, this fat ass prince, here, he also
Played by
looks
Tim
exactly like
Curry.
Garfield. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they swap places, and Garfield learns what it's like to live the high life, while the other guy, Prince, he has to live in Garfield's shoes. And there's a really interesting character conflict here. But that being said, I will say this: A Tale of Two Kitties is the second best Garfield film, and I would argue it understands the character a little more than the first film. That
Wow.
being said, this is still a terrible movie, and there's nothing good about it. Um,
I genuinely could not. I'm not sure if I prefer this one over the last one or not. I'm very unsure. Maybe I prefer this one a little more. I don't know. They're just so like similar in terms of quality for me. This one like
mm,
I don't even know how to describe my thoughts on this fucking movie. So
mm,
Garfield go into London, he switched places with Tim Curry, and then like the
yeah.
last one, it's just kind of meandering around until like I don't know, like Garfield becomes king, and also Bill Murray's back because his contract said that he had to come back for this, so he was
Yeah, which is
forced
very
into
funny. He
returning.
does not want to. He wants to be here even less than he did
There's a
before, and
part of
that's
this
really funny.
movie where like it was the dog, the bulldog, who I forgot his name, introduces him to all the other animals at the castle, and then you hear Bill Murray's voice, and then you sound like he's having like I feel like he's actually losing it. Like I've never seen him like yell so loud. I don't know why I don't fucking know. Like he just sounds so much more
He needs
unhinged in this
professional
movie.
help for being in these fucking Garfield movies.
I
It's
think they're
wild.
rotting
And
his
honestly,
brain.
I get him. I feel like he understands the adaptation arguments. So you know what? Bill Murray, if you're listening to this, we'd love to have you on Campy Cast. I think you'd be a great guest. But
Yes,
uh
yes.
but point is, see, I think really, I think what this one understands a little better is when Garfield goes into royalty, there is a more of a sense of the spirit of the character. Because putting Garfield into a situation where he has all the power, it really shows that idea I've been talking about how everyone wants to be Garfield while everyone wants to be in power. So there's a good thematic link there that I thought was really interesting from cause so good job Jimmy Davis. I really appreciative there. The other problem though is that first of all there's a really odd bestiality joke in this movie where John's like he's practicing his marriage proposal to Liz
Oh my
and
god,
Garfield
that
thinks
fucking joke.
it's about him. And he says something about how he's not sure that would be legal but they can make it work. And I'm like, hold on.
Does this
What
imply
is
that
this? Is this like
Garfield's
some
in love with
YMS shit
John?
on Garfield here? Like, come on. He can't consent to that. He's only a cat, you little bugger. But I thought that was a pretty interesting joke, all things considered. Um, I don't buy the John Liz connection here at all because they have
I never
like
bought
I
the
have more
connection between
chemistry
them.
with like my foot. Like people think that I can't like everyone I've talked to in person thinks I'm gay and I could talk to women better than John Arbuckle. It's wild how bad he fumbles in this. And it's like I don't buy that, oh John, he loves her so much he's gonna go to fucking the UK to see her. Like, bro, if I was Liz, I would just dump that hoe because it'd be a fucking pussy ass stalker bitch. Can't go a couple days without it. Wild shit. I don't support that at all. And honestly, character wise, I think it was a bad move on Liz's part. I don't buy that whole romantic connection. And that's the whole thing. I really don't like how much John fumbles in this. The only bits I kind of like in this is that Tim Curry does a he's Tim Curry, so he does some good with
I
his
mean, he's
roles.
a
He
good actor, but I feel like I just got tired of his voice. Like, it's not even his
Oh,
fault. Like, the voice is like, it just feels like it's probably like just how he was told to do the voice. But man, I got tired of it. It's like it's just the same type of thing. It's not like it. I don't know, just not a pleasant voice to listen to throughout the whole movie.
mm. Yeah, it really was that bad. I just kind of hated it. But
The villain of this movie is stupid. Basically, so for
uh,
like the former ruler of this like this castle that Garfield goes to leaves all her possessions to the cat instead of her nephew, and now the nephew's pissed, and the nephew decides to nearly kill Prince, and so he could get his
wait a
stuff.
minute. Hold on. Anthony, I'm just fucking making the connection now. This is the fucking plot of the Aristocats.
Oh,
And in
oh
no, in the
yeah, I haven't seen
Aristocats,
the
fucking
movie, but
because in the Aristocats, the butler is pissed that this rich lady's gonna give all of her money to the cats and not him. So he tries to fucking drown the cats in water. Like that
oh.
Garfield 2006 ripped off the Aristocats, which is one of the most mid and boring Disney movies of all time. Like, what the fuck, man? What was your game plan? Jesus Christ. Um, Jesus, this might actually be Michael Waldron level writing here. I was really disappointed. But um, my point is here that this whole plot was really like I wasn't a fan of it. The only thing that was kind of interesting to me is that fucking I call it was it yeah oh was it not him? I swear to God. Did the guy in this look like John Cleese or is that just me? Like I swear to God he looked like him. Fucking British
A
guy.
little
The
bit.
villain? I swear to God he looked like
It
him.
wasn't. It was Billy Connolly.
Really? I swear to God that was him. I'm
He
twitching out
looks
right now.
kind of like John Cleese, actually.
I swear to God it was him. Oh my God, I'm fucking twitching out right now. I was gonna warm up and say he was John Cleese live on air, but I and then you all would go, boy, I hope someone got fired for that blunder. But yeah, no, I guess it wasn't him. Wow, that's wild. Yeah, yeah, okay.
It's not nothing
Well,
about
but anyway,
these
his I liked
movies.
his character kind of. He wanted to kill people, which I think he understood the struggle of these Garfield movies on
I
that
mean, I
front.
kind of sympathize with him more than like Garfield. I'd be pretty pissed too if my fucking grandmother literally left like was literally just told that a cat was more important to her than her nephew. Like imagine hearing that. I'd be
Legit,
pretty pissed
legit.
off
I don't
too.
think I could last that fucking heartbreak. I'd
I'd be
cry
pissed at the
honestly.
cat too.
Mm. I would kill. I would skin that cat. Honestly, no, no, that's like skin is in. I would give it a nice skin fur coat so it wouldn't hear when I
Yeah.
punch it in the face.
Um,
But
I want to name another
yeah, I just
stupid
didn't
thing
like.
about this movie.
Mhm.
So there's like
Yeah.
a side plot. Garfield's in royalty, and Prince switches places with Garfield's life, and for some reason he
Mhm.
seems to really struggle adapting to Garfield's lifestyle of hating Mondays and eating lasagna while doing absolutely nothing all day.
Mhm. See, this is my whole thing of I think this is a commentary on how the rich can they live on such high status that they don't understand what poor people are like. There's this tweet from Kevin Bacon the other day where he said that he was like, I have to wait in line for a coffee, and it's this comment, and it was really funny because he's like so rich, he doesn't understand what the masses are like. I guess that could be a commentary on that, or I just am so insane I can look into anything with these fucking Garfield movies and put it into my head. Might be the second option. I don't know. I've been a little less normal in this podcast. I don't know if you guys at home could tell, but
Yeah.
um,
What do you
yeah,
like? What this is what watching Garfield movies does to someone. You know,
it does, it does. I've been fucking
they
unhinged
make
because of
him
these fucking movies.
yap nonsense sometimes, which I can't blame you for
Exactly.
feeling
It's
that way after sitting through all these movies.
yeah, yeah. I'm fucking, brrr. But point is, where am I? Where am I? Let me retrace my thoughts. Point is here, like the whole fucking. God, I'm just fucking. I'm actually losing it. I'm just
We're
entirely
only on the
zoned out right
second
now.
movie.
What the fuck? But my whole thing, the main points of this movie that stuck out to me is it does one of my least favorite jokes in anything. It's somehow in a million things, and it'll never die. Where they'll always do a joke where they're at a British guard or something, and the joke is the British guard doesn't make and doesn't react to anything, and the characters will do a bunch of things to try to get the British guard to react. Somehow, you know what I'm talking about, Anthony? Because that trope is in fucking everything, and for the life of me, I have no idea why. Like,
I don't
what
I
even?
don't remember seeing that trope in anything else
You don't
besides this
remember it? It's the
movie.
part where
Oh, I
doing the
remember it in
montage of
this
how like
movie. I just don't remember it in
yeah,
other things.
it's in a bunch of other things. I swear to God, this is one trailer for this one like quirky movie on my fucking. I remember it was on the. I forget what it was called, but it was something where they go to like this. These two girls, they go to this fucking British celebrity, and they're like, "We're gonna have you have a normal life or something." I was fucking. I'll dig on my fucking Lego Movie DVD to find what the name of this movie is. But point is, in the trailer for that, they do this fucking joke where the three of them, they're up there and they're like, "Whoa, let's do it," and it's in a bunch of other things. Paddington has a joke that is the only time it's been funny. And The Simpsons is the only time they've done a joke of that where it's funny. Where the fucking Australia episode, Homer's jumping Australia, America, and then the guy just punches him. And he goes, "We don't tolerate that in America." Second Simpsons tangent, but The Simpsons is Garfield if it were good. So, you know. Point is that trope sucks and they do it terribly in this movie. And they also do my other least favorite trope, where a character will pretend to be another character and they have to pretend to be their mirror and they do an extended scene of them trying to parallel each other's actions so they don't
Oh yeah.
get caught that there's another person on a mirror. I really hated that joke and I think I'm gonna be honest, it might be the worst scene we've covered on this podcast. Like, fuck the Nitro Zeus. Like, fuck, honestly, fuck the Transformers The Last Night. I can make a case for all the movies in this video being worse than that movie. But
Damn.
it's just kind of like, it is. I'm true, though. It's fucking. And we have four more to cover after this. Oh my god. I don't know if I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this episode, Anthony.
I wanna let me think about some other things since I'm already running out of shit to say because there's so little happening in these movies that is
Well,
worth
I think there
substance.
is, but the problem is when I say things about these movies, I sound like mentally deficient. So it's like
Yeah,
I
that's how
can't.
talking about Garfield works, I guess. Anyways,
Yeah.
uh, I don't. There's a musical number in this movie again where Garfield sings
Oh,
and
I
he's
hated
royalty
it.
now.
I hated it when they danced in the music. They looked disgusting. They looked more like rowdy than a
But
fucking
he's
ferret.
celebrating
It
that
was just
he's
disgusting.
that he's royalty, and that's so
Mm,
epic, I
mm.
guess.
There's so many bits in this movie where I was just like that I just don't like I couldn't deal with any of it. Like John is further assassinated. Garfield, it's like it's kind of like what they try doing to some legacy characters where they'll try to bring them back to where they were, but they can't really. It's like Indy 5, Indy, where it's like I couldn't buy like him being back to his old self. They damaged him too much in this. It felt fucking like just disgusting to me. Odie continues to be pointless. I didn't quite like him in this. And then Liz and John furthered their character assassination. I will say my favorite part of this movie was when I was watching it with friends, and when I was watching it with friends, I was talking about it with friends while I was watching it, and one of them mentioned a ferret, and then a ferret showed up when I said it. It was really funny. Like,
Speaking
oh,
of
a
a ferret,
ferret.
there's like a lot of different animals in this movie, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Bunch of
I
rowdy
only
animals
remember
in
the
this.
bulldog and the parrot, and the parrot was kind of like just supposed to be annoying, and the bulldog was just
I remember there being a dog, but I might be mixing that up with the first one.
I don't I
There's this
I
It's that
know.
big ass chase where Garfield gets chased by the dog. And Garfield's like,
Yeah.
"Well, I guess you did help me, Odie, even if I'll never admit it." Ha 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 ha. And he like rolls his eyes, and they like there's that whole Garfield Odie sish. Their beef is terrible in the first movie, and they're kind of like on the same team here, but they don't really have any character in them because Odie can't fucking talk. I don't know why they keep pairing Garfield and Odie because Odie can't talk. There's no back and forth you could do. But my whole point here is uh I just didn't like it, and the whole plan didn't make sense. Oh, they're gonna eat all the animals, ha 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 ha. We're gonna get rid of all the animals, ha ha ha
They're
ha ha.
just
Because
doing
the
that
big
so that way
villain
this
is getting his over.
antagonist who has a reasonable motivation, and I honestly sympathize with him over the animals, so they make him want to get rid of them just so the kids at home could start getting mad at him.
If you could have tension, it's bullshit. I hated it. And oh my god, there are just so many scenes in this movie where I genuinely wanted to like I wanted to go on EFAP so I could ask Fringy to make an EFAP movies on these and have me be the guest so we could spend like 10 hours talking about how bad all of them are. That's what I wanted to fucking do. Like get me on Metal Forge, motherfuckers. I could talk about Garfield over Furiosa. But um, point is, there were just so many scenes in this where I just hated it. I just did not like watching it. There were so many bad jokes, so many bad bits of characterization. The only bit that brought me life is when they called when they said they call British women birds, which is a really weird like British slang. Why don't they call British women birds? That's kind of wild. And
I don't know.
yeah,
That's
the
weird.
ending climax was kind of like it was better than Revenge of the Fallen's hour long climax where Garfield is like, well, where like the villain's like threatening them, and then they gotta save the day, and then they all win, and it's like stupid, and they have a funny little wacky dance party ending, and then the credits roll. I just like,
They also try and
I don't
like
know how
it's like
I.
recreating Home Alone with the fucking uh with the villain of the movie almost. That's how it felt.
Mhm.
Anyways, that's literally it. This movie sucks ass. Fuck you. Fuck you,
Yeah, I'm
Garfield.
gonna be honest. This one is still a 1 out of 10. I hated it. It was.
I don't know if I hate this more than the first film. I genuinely can't tell. It's like three. Still a three. I think I'm just getting mad because this is only the second one. God damn it. Anyways, yeah. You ready to get it? This is like we have. Oh my
See the
God,
pro.
it
Okay,
gets
here's the real
worse.
problem with this. Now I'm gonna get into it. This next movie, where
Garfield
by the way,
gets
Anthony,
real.
three. Like, come on, just give it a one. But anyway, Garfield gets real. My whole thing with this is I've been doing this ironic bit where I play up the fact that I think these movies are terrible when they're not. For those of you at home, the joystick is metaphor for penis, but for the other of you at home, um, Garfield, One and Tale of Two Kitties, they are not the worst movies we discuss in this podcast. I'm just a funny little bugger. I think it's funny to give them all ones. And I was gonna do that bit. I was gonna be like, the joke is all these movies are ones. But the problem is half the movies in this video are ones, but for real. So
Yeah.
it's like my bit didn't work out. And Garfield Gets Real might be the most horrifying movie we've talked about on this podcast. And you know what? Here's what I'm gonna say. I think I've realized why I got so mad and got so unhinged. The director of these, Mark A.Z. Dippy, it's the fucking director of. Wait, hold on.
Marmaduke
Is it not? It's the
2022.
director of Marmaduke. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I
this
couldn't
guy,
see.
no joke, this guy's making some of the worst animated movies I have ever seen.
This guy has made four of the worst movies of all time. I actually like hate him. I don't hate him. Mark A. Zippy, we'd be down to have you on the podcast. I'm just
We
playing.
would be
He made some
curious to
bad movies, but
see
I'm sure I could have
what
some nice coffee with you. We could have like a nice goon sesh if you're open to that. But
the God damn it.
someone sent him this. But anyway, actually don't. But anyway, Mark A. Zippy or whatever, he made these CGI Garfield trilogies where Garfield himself is they do this weird meta thing where Garfield is it's like a meta thing where Garfield he's like an actor performing for the comic strip and he's doing these jokes. But the thing is, Garfield the character is still like he still lives with John
For some
and he still
reason.
has Odie. And he's still the same situation, but he's still in this cartoon world. All these comic strips exist, and this movie is fucking atrocious. I hate it. It has some of the worst character designs in anything. This fucking weird ass like blob guy. I hated him. I
Boy's
hated the
built like
person
a
with
cylinder.
I hated the person with Anthony Tier
Okay,
Jewish nose. It was really
the fucking Yeah, but the
Please keep
fucking
this in, Anthony. I'll love you for it.
character
But
design is
mm,
probably
mm.
one of the worst things about this movie.
It's
Like,
horrifying.
it
I
is
hated looking
terrible.
at
I
the
hate
dude.
it. It's so the expressions are fucking cursed. The movements are like everything about it just looks fucking off. Like just so many awkward movements and like terrible posing and also just like just it's fucking terrible. I hate it.
Mm.
Abysmal.
It
My
is.
brain
It
is
is.
rotting for this too. I think the Garfield brain rot is getting to me now. God damn it.
It's just. Mm. I will say this thing right now. So we're out of Bill Murray because obviously these are fucking direct to DVD like shit, so he's not gonna be here. But our boy Frank Welker, a very talented man, very lovely man. Love that. He's what he's obviously like name a thing. He's probably voice acted somewhere, and he's a legend in the VA community. The problem though is Frank Welker. I feel horribly bad for him because I genuinely in all three of these movies he sounds like he just wants to curl up into a ball and just
It's
die.
like
Like he
it's
sounds
weird
so
because
tired.
his voice for Garfield works, but these movies have plots that like
Mhm.
try to actually make him likable and like you're supposed to try and care about him now for some reason, even though Garfield's a joke, he's supposed to be just like
Exactly.
yeah, so him just like showing this emotionless voice, like it acts like he just doesn't give a shit about what's happening, so why should we, the audience, give a shit about what's happening?
Mhm.
So that's like the big thing with this
Exactly.
movie. And also it's just so Garfield, I guess, he goes to the real world because his life has become repetitive and doing the same shit every day, which I guess is like kind of implying that Garfield comics are actually boring and repetitive. So basically, I'm pretty sure the creators of these movies actually hate Garfield. So
They do. This is
why
the
would you
weird
make a
thing where
movie on Garfield then?
see, this is what really pissed me off because as someone who really respects the character, I was not supporting the level of hate that Garfield was like was getting here because the whole thing is Garfield's like, and we'll get into a Fun Fest because in Fun Fest it actually makes my head fucking explode. But in this movie, the whole thing is Garfield's like, I guess I'm tired doing the same tired jokes over and over again. I'm just done with it all. And it's like, well, dude, are you just making fun of the fact that Garfield comics are boring and repetitive? You're the Garfield movie. You're supposed to give him some prestige, some honor. And all these movies do is just make fun of Garfield. And I'll give Garfield the credit, actually. Because if I were in this movie, I'd be depressed too. Because everyone in this movie is either ugly or sounds ugly, or I'm just done with them. And it's just so frustrating to deal with.
Every
Like, I.
character in this movie is an absolute horror to listen to and look at.
There are two characters in particular that I really hated that I'll talk about more in FunFest, but I guess I'll bring them up here. Actually, FunFest might be worse than Gets Real. I'm thinking
I
about this
fucking
now.
hate Fun
I thought
Fest. We'll
Gets
get
Real
to
is the
that
worst.
soon.
Yeah, but my point is the two worst characters in this movie have got to be Arlene and Normal. Now, Arlene, I don't know how you felt, but I hated her ass because she was like, "Ooh, Garfield, Garfield, you gotta
I'm just
support me,
confused how
Garfield, Garfield."
Garfield has a love interest. That doesn't make sense to me at
I'm
all.
confused what people see. I think that actually I do understand that much because Garfield was probably attracted. Arlene was probably attracted to Garfield's massive yacht and bad boy energy. You know what I mean?
The fuck? Excuse
Especially
me?
for talking like the '76 Garfield. Like, have you seen that guy's yacht? Like,
Okay, calm down,
mm,
buddy. All right. Nah,
sorry, I'm
screw
getting.
screw uh Garfield and his love interest because that just sounds stupid to me. Like what does she
No,
see in
like,
Garfield?
well,
Why
I
does
think
she care
maybe
about Garfield so much?
I think in fairness, Arlene may have seen some of
Okay, please,
Garfield's
please,
raw.
please stop. Please
I'm not
stop.
gonna say the
Please
yacht thing. It's
zip
like
it,
the thing
zip
about
it, zip it, zip your mouth
this
right
is the
now.
first time I think you've told me to stop saying something on the
Yeah,
podcast. That's
exactly,
wild.
because these movies fucking suck.
Yeah, but my point is maybe Arlene saw Garfield's wild raw energy of how he's who we all want to be, like I've been talking about. Maybe Arlene saw that and that would make sense. But also she has an ugly design. I think she's a whore and doesn't want Garfield to be himself. I hate Arlene. But you know who I hate more than Arlene?
Normal.
The worst character in Garfield history, Normal. I every time Normal speaks in these movies, I genuinely want to I want to bring back the Top Gun Maverick bit where I say the most like asinine wild shit because I fucking hated him in this. And I was like Normal in these, he's like I'll give them this. At least they brought back his like quirky uwu Mika Kawaii design in these like the fucking he should have because that's what makes his character work. He's supposed to be annoying to Garfield and he's supposed to be all cute and innocent. That's what Garfield hates him. The thing is, they made their job work a little too well because I hate Nermal as probably more than Garfield does. That's not a good thing. He has I'm being honest. Nermal in this has the worst voice I think any character in anything has ever had. Like, do you agree, Anthony? His voice was so obnoxious. I hated
His
every
voice is
time he
annoying as
spoke.
fuck. Yeah, I agree.
I hated him. He was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. He was like so like fucking trying to attract the Coco Melon audience. And I was like, whoa, Garfield, whoa, whoa. And I'll get to him and fucking get to like, Fun Fest. God, all these movies are blending in my mind. I
I
swear to
know.
God, they're all
I
just the
feel like
same shit.
I'm almost like concerned I might get something mixed up with them because they're all just like
No,
uh
honestly, I might honestly, if you did, I won't even blame you because they're just like all this like fucking mush. It's disgusting,
it's
and I
actually
don't know how
like
we're here. Oh my God, I'm gonna actually fucking blow a fuse with these movies. I can't. I
I
can't.
guess we still haven't talked about okay, so we talked about like this shitty character design, blah blah blah. But I just like another thing I want to mention. So basically the weird thing is that so basically they filmed the comics in this like studio, the Garfield comics, and then they get scanned into the real world into newspapers. And I don't why not just draw them? Just draw them instead. You think drawing them would be easier than like doing this? I don't know
I'm
how
gonna
it
be
works
honest.
at
I
all.
think
It's stupid.
I just don't even think thought of that. It's like the joke is, oh, haha, they're treating like acting like a comic strip. Tee hee, look at how cool we. Sorry, I thought it was a really funny thing. Uh, what do you mean, Kevin Feige pegging? But anyway, my point is, that was supposed to be a cool, quirky. Ooh, look at how funny our joke is. Haha, Mika Kawaii. But it
Jesus.
never made sense to me in these. Oh, hold on. Am I here? Oh, I am here. Never mind. Uh, but anyway, my whole it just didn't make sense to me. Like all it was, oh my God, I'm actually losing my mind. I'm not even thinking about what we're talking about. But the whole thing was annoying. The whole quest was annoying. Garfield, oh, you leave, and they gotta come back and redeem them to do a nice little comic, little show that they're worth it. And it's a whole thing. Did you buy any of that drama, Anthony? Because I did not at
No.
all. I thought it was
No, it was all
atrocious.
stupid. It
I,
was all bullshit. The entire conflict of this movie is so stupid. Garfield also just randomly goes into the real world without thinking. Like he just sees the porn. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go into the real world. He doesn't seem to think about it. Also, isn't Gar? Why is shouldn't Garfield just be like a normal cat? Why does he have to be in this cartoon wacky world? Like the idea of Garfield learning to become a real cat is fucking stupid because he should have already been one in the fucking first place. Like it's a dumb
Mhm,
concept. It's such a stupid idea for a movie, and barely anything
mhm,
happens. He just meets up with other cats and he performs shows, and there's absolutely no substance to it. Genuinely, it's all just so emotionless and ugly and hideous to look at. There's just nothing to it. The comedy has such a low energy to it that I don't even know, man. It's fucking painful to sit through. Character design is still abysmal. Like
Yeah,
it is
see,
abysmal. God, I
here's
can't
my
stress how
thing.
bad it is. Jesus.
The reason I sound so wild about like character posing, I talk about this a lot as I've mentioned. But you know what? The one of the reason I've been like that is because when you don't have good character posing, this is what you sound like. That's what you get. You get Garfield gets real, which may be a disgrace to the entire franchise, honestly. Like I'm hmm, Jesus Christ. I don't know if I'm gonna last this episode. This is the third movie. We have three more.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Ah!
But I can't. This is the worst idea we've had in
I
Campy
almost
Cast
regret
history.
pitching this. That's
This is the
this is
this is
so
the
fucking
worst
stupid. I
fucking
swear. I
concept
have never
we've
felt
ever
like
had.
so like soul crushed while recording one of these episodes.
I I don't I'm gonna be honest, I've never been this unformal doing a Campy Cast because these
I
fucking
am so
Garfield
sorry
movies.
for people who just aren't in like our friend group and are confused like as fuck of what Matthew has been saying. So
Mm,
and part so like oh wow, that's
mm.
what Garfield does to
I'm gonna
someone.
I think it needs to be this needs to be untouched the way it is because I need to have it archived how fucking unhinged this podcast made me. Like I have never been like this in my life on this. And
Yeah.
I just oh my god.
So it's like
If you wanted to
definitely
bang before the fucking break, then you're fucking getting it. But yeah, Garfield gets real. I want to get real out of this discussion because I hated it so much.
I have
Uh,
let me see. Do I have any? Let's see what
did you take
else.
notes for these, by the way? Because I went like fucking
I
fuck out.
literally I don't know. One of my notes for this was literally why does Garfield have Riz?
Well, that's the whole thing. Garfield is who we all want to be, but I don't think that like. mm, I think
Uh,
honestly,
this
Garfield is pretty like a
I hate
fat.
it. This movie. Why? There's a line in this movie where Arlene's like, Garfield, why the fuck are you depressed? I wish that's how she said it. And I'm like, why are they talking about? Why is Garfield's depressed? What? It's
It's
a
weird.
fucking
He's on
Garfield
his
movie.
fucking
Why is he having
midlife
like an
crisis arc. This
existential
is a
crisis?
Garfield movie.
This is
I
so
just I
stupid. It's
don't even
Garfield. I don't care about Garfield. He's just supposed to be a joke. God damn.
exactly. Mm.
Jeez,
Oh my god,
I
I'm
don't I
just
feel like I forgot how animated movies look like after watching these. I swear. That's how fucking dreadful they
I
are.
got too used to the bear and the long nose
Oh, I
and that
fucking hate
one
the
guy
bear. The
and the
bear. I hate the
rabbits.
bear. He's annoying as hell. I hate
Oh my god, I
every
hate that fucking. Oh my god, I'm getting fucking flashbacks now. The worst, I hated that fucking the girl with the glasses and like the red hair. She was the I hated her so
which one
much. You
was
know what I'm
that?
talking
Oh,
about?
oh
Hold on,
yeah.
hold on. I should put her in the thumbnail, Anthony. It'd be really funny.
I don't know what I'm
Uh,
doing in the thumbnail for this. I'll see.
I want the thumbnails.
This is the most
I just remember
unhinged
the
I've sounded in an episode,
yeah,
and just both of us,
yeah,
let's be honest. Um,
yeah.
what else is there to say? This fucking I hate every character in this movie. Even like John and Garfield, I don't even like in this. Like, cause I just
You
it
know what?
just
Honestly, actually, I'll be fair here. John Arbuckle actually had some decent characterization in this
does he does he really?
because like think if you think about it, really, John Arbuckle is pretty pathetic in this movie. But he
Oh,
does John have any Riz in this movie?
I guess so. I guess who cares?
He doesn't have any. So
Yeah,
like
fuck this movie.
like honestly, I'm gonna actually
There's no
uh
substance, no reason to watch this movie. Like watch it for yourself. I didn't laugh. I didn't feel any
nothing
sort
was
of emotion other than just boredom and pure brain rot at the thought of like what it was trying to say about Garfield and just how shitty the animation was. Fuck you, Garfield.
yeah.
Respectfully, that is. Can we drop our ratings? I'm ready to yell at the
Um
next one now.
yeah, I guess we'll get to the next one. The one thing I will say is
These are
during these
all. This is like
movies,
a one.
I
This is like a high one, I'd
this is
say.
one of the like I was joking before, but I'm dead ass. This is genuinely one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Like
Some of these are genuinely like I can't lie. It's like
I actually hated sitting
it's
through all of
easily
it.
one
The
of the
only
worst, some of the worst shit we talked about on this podcast. So,
no, actually, what I will say there's this one the one thing I did like about this movie is this is really funny uh, I made this really funny edit while watching it, where this girl going, "Baby, can you touch me already?" And she's grabbing onto the guy's
oh my
shoulders,
God.
and it's the guy typing at the keyboard saying, "Hold on, someone mischaracterized John Arbuckle," I made that, and I hate that I laugh at my own jokes, but I that is so stupid. Oh my god.
Jesus.
I,
Ugh.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, fuck this
Mhm.
movie. Next Garfield's Fun Fest. somehow even
Mm.
worse. You know, this might be the worst one. This one was fucking painful. I
Yeah.
genuinely just, this one is even more boring, more worthless, more
Well, no, I don't know. See, this one, I think, I just like, I think it won it. Oh my God, I can't. But I, you know what I feel like right now? You know that one Rick and Morty clip where like they're like this like
Yeah, the fucking Rick and Morty thing when Rick and Morty come back from an adventure and then they just have a breakdown over what happened.
that is literally gonna be me and you after we finish this fucking episode, honestly. I'm just so
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But anyway, um my point is, in Garfield's Fun Fest, we learned that Garfield um, is unfunny and he needs to find the funny water. And the thing is, this movie has the worst opening of all time because fucking Tim Conway, known for his role as Barnacle Boy
I just
on
hear he
SpongeBob,
plays the
he's
fucking
the
frog in this movie.
narrator of this, telling the story about this frog who's like, oh no, he's like, so he was so funny, kind of like my bestie Josh. Hi Josh. Sorry if you're hearing me deranged, but I assume you're laughing right now. But point is, this frog here is doing his whole thing. And he's like fucking twitching out or whatever. And then Garfield's turning out he's reading the story. But then they're going to this talent show and this is where John Arbuckle starts dancing, and it's this really actually I will say there was some great John Arbuckle characterization here. I liked
How?
how pathetic.
Uh, what are you talking about? What John Arbuckle characterization was in this movie, bro? He's like in one scene from memory. And I watched this like
No, 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 but like the. mm, the part here where he was dancing, I thought that was a really good way to show the patheticness of John Arbuckle's
who
character.
cares though?
It
Who cares if he's pathetic? It's not like the film does anything with the fact that he's pathetic to make any sort of clever jokes because there are no clever jokes. Every single joke in these fucking movies have like no proper energy. I can't even describe how they like they just don't, they're just so
Anthony, that might
unfunny.
be the funniest thing you've ever said. Oh my fucking God, that's amazing. But
Okay. Fuck this movie.
Jesus.
All right. First
Mm,
off, so
mm,
the
mm.
plot of this movie is
The
Garfield.
plot of this movie is that Arlene is a whore, and she's like, Garfield, why don't you ever spend any time with me? Ooh, ooh, oh, whoa, X3 notices your bulge. And then Garfield's like, this is, I will give credit here. Garfield is a bit of an alpha male in this movie, but he's like, fuck you, Arlene. I'm
Based
doing my own
Garfield.
thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is when Garfield Skibbity Ohio Gyat Riz kicks in,
Oh
and
my
I thought he was
god.
pretty, pretty I thought he was pretty cool here when he did that whole thing. I really respected him. Although, I did not like though the the part where he eventually conforms and tries to win back. Or like she's not even a baddie, Garfield. Like, come on, you can get a better cat than that. The point is, then Garfield's like, "Well, I know I might not win the talent show because I'm not funny." Grr. And then Normal's like, I don't know, I'm gonna win. Okay, okay, okay. Ah. And he's like, ah, I'm so funny. Ah, ah. Let me scream so he can
Fuck
hear
you,
all my
Normal.
lines
I
because I'm a
hate Normal.
mentally deficient
Genuinely, fuck
child.
him.
And then and I hated him so much. And then Garfield goes off with his buddy Odie to finally find how to be funny. Which is weird because this movie hates Garfield. It's literally like they literally
He
go, "You're not
literally, they
funny. Learn how
say
to
in
be
this movie
funny."
that Garfield's getting old and isn't funny. But why are you making a movie about him if you people don't even like him? Like it just leads to these movies
Exactly.
having like no soul and like I just can't get care about anything or get like any sort of like because
It's
there's
like when
nothing
they
to these
hire
fucking
like
movies.
like I'm gonna be honest, these are my fucking phase for Garfield. Like this is how it felt, all this shit.
It's weird because I
Like
feel like I almost never just casually drop 1 out of 10 so often, but these movies have like so fucking just they don't care about
nah
the
nah see
brand, they don't
that's
care
I
about
remember
anything. The
this
amount of
motherfucker,
soullessness and
for
just
for those of
pure
you at home, this guy gave Garfield Gets Real like a 2 for a bit, and I got so mad. Like it's how Danis felt when Josh gave Bruno a 2. I was like, what the fuck? You can't say that. A two? What was good about it? Like, and then he was like, gave it a one. I was like, God, thank you,
Yeah, I
Anthony. I
was
feel
like
better about
original. I don't know. Like it's the best
it.
of these
See, Anthony, this is
Garfield
why you're my
movies. If I'm
bestie.
being
You
honest.
really get it on a primordial level. But put it in
Okay.
this way, it's like I think honestly, I see your vision. I think FunFest might be worse than Gets Real. I fucking
Thank
despise
you.
this movie
God
so much.
damn. Thank
It's
you.
it's so bad. Like I'm just the more I think about it, the more I'm baffled at everything it actually like did. Like what even was that? The frog
What
trying
is
to teach
the
how to be
point of this
funny.
fucking movie? So Garfield goes on a journey in the forest, right? Okay, he wants to find this funny water so he could be objectively funny, which somehow is possible. And then he bumps into these wacky creatures. Like he bumps into this bear who just like no, there was this piece of shit squirrel who teaches him that like,
Mm.
oh, you need I guess other people to help you do comedy. Then there's this other bear who realizes that like I don't know, the bear where you should like no. I forgot what specific lessons they each taught him, but they were all very surface level. Like he meets this
Yeah, it was
bear
like
and
you
his
gotta master the
mom.
timing. Something. There's this one part that really stood out to me where, oh Jesus Christ, that something happened. But where he's like, so you need to self-deprecate to be funny. You gotta make yourself the butt of the joke, which is actually good comedic advice. Because I've met so many annoying people that are like, well, you can't. I can make jokes about other people when I'm the punchline. They're like bitchy. Like, I won't name names for the sake of not having beef. I don't want to start. I'm not like a Drake when Anthony Fantano said he sent him a cooking recipe at 12 a.m.
What the fuck
Look it
is
up,
this
it's wild.
episode right now? What are we talking about anymore?
No, but this is a real thing that happened where
Why are we bringing up
Anthony
Drake in
Fantano.
the middle of a Garfield Fun Fest
No,
discussion?
I swear to God, this happened where Drake DM'd music critic Anthony Fantano and talked about how I'll give your life a one because he didn't like his albums, and to goad him into leaking those DMs, Anthony Fantano made a video where he said that Drake DM'd him a recipe for vegan cookies in the middle of the night and said he likes to misspell the word applesauce, and Drake
Okay.
fired back by leaking the real DMs where he insulted someone for not liking his albums. This was before the Drake Kendrick beef, by the way. And I'm gonna be honest, if you're wondering why, well, Matthew, why are you bringing this up in the middle of a podcast? To
That's
answer
what
your
I was
question, Garfield.
wondering.
To answer your question, I think Garfield's Fun Fest did this to me because that movie taught me about comedic structure, and they taught it very poorly. So now I can't make jokes properly anymore, you know? Like you feel me? I just think I've
Yeah.
kind of
But like
lost my whole
even
thing.
then, oh wow, he gives comedic advice to Garfield. It's not like it doesn't even have any payoff because at the end Garfield doesn't even like perform stand up. He just dances with Arlene. But like what was the point of the movie if he wasn't even going to like do anything funny that made him win the contest? So like what was the point of
Mm,
it? What was the point of the fucking movie? Nothing has
yeah.
payoff. So like them teaching these lessons have no value in the context of the story here. Okay?
Exactly. It doesn't mean anything. And honestly, this is all leading up to maybe I think maybe the worst. This might be the worst. I've probably said this as a joke before, but this bit might actually be the worst joke we've ever talked about on Campy Cast. Like it's worse than all the scenes in the last night. It's worse than the part where Patrick Bateman gets killed in American Psycho 2. It's worse than the nickel joke in Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension. It's worse than what's another bad scene in a movie we've talked about? I need to think to fill this punchline. Anthony, you help me out. What's another bad movie with like a terrible 1 out of 10
The
scene?
opening of
Um,
American Psycho 2. I don't know
oh, that's
why
what I was
that
just.
came to mind.
Oh no, I just said that.
Oh, you did?
What?
Okay, I'm sorry. I wasn't
I
paying
did.
attention.
Oh, no. It's worse than God, I could make a funny joke out of this.
I'm pretty sure you
It's
said
worse
I
than the
think you've
gross.
made your point.
It's worse than the gross arguments in the Mario movie. There we go. I pulled it all
All
together.
right, all
Like
right.
the scene where we find out that okay. So first of all, Arlene is such a whore because she's like goes after this fucking other bitch because Garfield's making her upset. Like, oh, you're so cool. It's so fit. Like a whore. But we learn that this bitch was actually normal the entire time.
It was normal. I
And
hate how they
this scene
almost.
made me so baffled. I actually could have just fucking like, I hated it. It was maybe the worst scene in Garfield history. I was so mad. Like, you can't fucking do
Yeah, it was
that.
fucking
It was
stupid
just,
way to end it.
it
Waste of
was
time.
just,
I genuinely
mm.
fucking hate this movie. There was nothing to it. I don't see the point in it. It feels like there was no effort or care put into it. It's the type of like I hate it. I hate it. There's no
It
purpose to it.
genuinely felt
Nothing.
Scooby Doo 2ification of Garfield with that. Where, wait, did I say Scooby Doo 2 or 2002?
I think
Uh,
you said Scooby Doo too.
Oh, no, I meant Scooby Doo 2002. That's my bad. But it's like that fucking bit where they're like, "Oh, Scrappy Doo was the villain the entire time." And it's like that's what the normal thing was. Like how annoying characters like it's fucking normal, honestly. And I think that this one ended on a dance party. I know that the other one did, but I don't know if they
I
all did.
fucking hated that
Uh,
dance party. Like, what are they celebrating? Oh wow, we got Garfield back to the real world. Now we have to party for some reason. Like, fuck,
mhm.
like fuck off. 1 out of 10. I'm dropping the one. I'm done talking about this movie. I know these are very short
Yeah.
segments, but you try watching these movies, and I bet you would not have much to
Honestly,
say
are these
about
short
them.
segments? I think they felt like fucking forever.
I don't
Like,
know. I
but
don't
I
know.
don't
Maybe
know.
they're all blending together. Fuck you, Garfield. Anyways, you want to move on to the last one of this painful ass trilogy? Uh,
Yeah. Oh Jesus Christ, we have two more movies. Oh no, God damn it.
ah,
Honestly, I'm glad we're not going to be doing another Campy Cast until August
I'm gonna
because I
need a
deserve a
break.
fucking break. Like I deserve a fucking break after this Garfield
Funny
episode.
thing,
Like
since we
it
had to
feels like
since we had to like schedule a
such a
recording for this, like not
Mhm,
long after the last episode recording, we kind of had to like we had to just sort of space stuff out, you know. We just had to wait, no, we had fuck, I can't speak right now. This fucking episode's around my brain. Um
mhm.
we kind of had to like watch all the Garfield movies in a very short span of time. So, yeah, maybe that's part of the reason why we're like so like fucking our brains are so rotted at the moment with the nonsense that
Mhm.
that's been spoken, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. I've just been
Yeah.
more unhinged than I usually am. Usually I'm much more calm
I
in campy
For
cast
those of you
episodes.
who like more like normal campy conversations, I can assure you, whatever episode we do when we come back, I
It's
will
gonna
not
be
act
like
like
much calmer, much more like feel
yeah.
more like a podcast episode than whatever the
Yo,
hell this is
honestly,
right now.
yo, Anthony, we should do that fucking Steven Universe Wolf Children episode when we come back, and that'd be an iconic like
We'll
thing
do
to
that at some
bring us
point.
up
Yeah,
to
we're doing
basic.
that episode
Or so we want to
sometime
do like
this
a
year.
good
We'll
episode,
see.
like a great one when it comes back. I guess fuck, I guess we spoiled that idea for our audience, but it'll
We
be
don't
one of
know
our
when
best. Trust me, it'll be really
we'll do
funny.
that at some
But
point. I can't say when at the moment, but we'll see. Anyways, what was
yeah,
the next
yeah.
one? Garfield Pet Force.
Oh,
Yes.
oh Jesus, no, not Pet Force. Anything
Ah.
but Pet Force.
So, funny
Hmm.
thing about this one, I've
I'm gonna be honest.
actually
Like, okay.
seen it before. I saw
Hmm,
this when it was like it aired
hmm,
one day on like I don't know, it aired like on cable back when I used that,
hmm,
and I ended up watching
hmm.
through the full thing, and now it's just seen as a weird ass
Did
childhood
you like it
memory.
at the time?
I don't know. I don't even remember. I just thought it was like, what is this? I was confused. I can't say I liked it or hated it at the time,
Hmm.
but now
I'm
I
gonna be
definitely
honest.
hate it. What?
Here's what I'm gonna say. Garfield's Pet Force. It might be the first Mark A. Z. Dippy film to almost be Marmaduke 2022 tier.
Damn.
That's
I
how
mean,
bad
I'm
I
not
hated
sure.
this one.
Actually, this might be worse than Fun Fest if I'm being honest. I can't tell which one's
Yo, this
worse.
one is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my fucking life. I hated it so much. Like I don't even think there was anything to unironically appreciate about this fucking movie.
So,
It was so
Garfield,
bad.
this is a superhero movie, and it follows in this alternate universe. We see these variations of all the iconic Garfield characters, such as Garzuka.
I
Starlina.
hated their names. Like, it
They're
was like abnormal.
odious.
Yeah, odious.
Abnormal. Why the fuck is his name abnormal? That's like
Because he is
abnormal. How
abnormal.
is that a
Well, because he is
superhero
abnormal.
name? Like that's
This, I'm gonna
stupid.
be honest. This one, like, as if you couldn't ruin normal any further, this movie does it. Because I hated every time he said a word in this movie. Like, well, Garzuka's gonna like that. Like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Stop speaking words. I hated him so much in this. He's like fanboying, like, oh my god, Garzuka, yeah, Mia Kawaii, yeah, yeah. Like, shut up, stop speaking. Oh my god, I hated him. I hated him so much. And you know what? You know what the worst thing about this is? The worst
What?
thing about this movie?
Huh? What? What is
They
it?
they it has poor John Arbuckle
Oh
characterization.
God, not again. How is he poor? He doesn't. I mean, he okay. So he's an emperor briefly, but of
Yeah, that
the.
ruined it. Why would John Arbuckle have power?
To be
He's
fair,
like
he is
that
a
ruins
yeah.
the
I
whole
guess that
dichotomy.
makes sense.
Garfield's supposed to be the one with the power, which I think honestly, there's a good idea in this movie, I think, where John Ar what the fuck am I saying? But there's a good idea in this movie where you can make John like I think like an average citizen of this planet and Garfield be a superhero. And that could really emphasize the whole power dynamic of we want to be Garfield, but we are John that I've been talking about for like it feels like an 8 hour camping cast. We've been here a while, I think.
It
But
feels like
uh
we have, but this is honestly seems like it's gonna be shorter than the last couple episodes. Yet it
I
feels like
mean,
it's
yeah,
been
that
the
last one was
longest.
like 3 hours or whatever. Not
No,
two? No, Smiling
the
Friends.
two episodes beforehand, like the Breaking Bad one was like 4 hours, and then the Smiling Friends one was like almost 3 hours. I'm pretty sure.
How long? Actually, normally I don't ask this, but how far are we in right now? I'm
It
so
says an
curious.
hour and 24 minutes. So
Jesus, I thought we were here way longer than that. What the fuck?
yeah.
I don't know if I can last much longer,
We
man.
have two
Fuck, we need
movies.
to.
We could do this. It's not like I'm
Hmm.
gonna be honest. I think I'm starting to get the unhinged energy out of me now. I think Garfield
I
Fun Fest
I
was.
swear to God. Here's my thing. I started doing the unhinged as a joke, but now I think I'm just actually unhinged. Like, God damn it. I'm like, mm. the, this is the most like wild thing we've ever
This
done.
is the
Oh my
most
God.
like
Like I
insane Campy Cast episode
if
ever.
I had a time machine, I would go back in time and stop us from doing the Garfield episode, I
Yeah,
think.
this is
Or
like.
maybe not.
I
This
think
is
I
like our
pictured
master.
this better in my head. Oh well.
This I thought it would be more normal in my head, but it just
Or
didn't work
more
out.
normal. Yeah, it would be more normal.
Mhm. Mhm.
Ah,
Mm.
back to Pet
I'm not
Force.
normal. And again, the whole thing doesn't. Okay, but the point is, I was trying to talk about John Arbuckle characterization. Where okay, so John Arbuckle, right? Uh, his whole thing in this is that he's the ruler of this fuck. Wait, I just said this. Wait, what the fuck? Oh my God, God damn it, God damn it. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. But okay, but then John, he fucking Liz, who actually I do appreciate this. There is one thing I will say about this movie. It has fantastic Liz characterization in it.
That's it.
Like,
Wait,
yeah,
was
I
isn't
think she's
Liz
really
like Liz is supposed to be the fucking villain of this movie, right?
yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
her?
Yeah, she's like the vet.
Uh,
And honestly, I think honestly, there's some fantastic characterization for Liz in
do
this
you
movie.
just
I think
like
there's
that
some
she's the
solids.
villain of the movie? Is that why?
I like that she fucking hates John and is an asshole because that's what her character is.
Okay.
That the did you not like that as a Garfield
How am
expert?
I don't understand why you appreciate John Arbuckle characterization so much, I'm gonna be
He's
honest.
hot, okay? John Arbuckle is my Tumblr sexy man.
Uh, okay. I don't care
Did I say
anymore.
that out loud?
Yeah, you said that out loud, and I'm keeping it in. People watching this probably think you're insane.
I don't care. Fucking bring it.
All
Bring
right.
it. I'll fucking take it, honestly.
Jesus Christ,
I
man.
don't give it. This is the honestly, this might be the best episode of Camp Because mm, like honestly, like I think maybe we need more of this energy because think about how much better the amphibia episode would have been. Is it like partway through talking about the hardest thing, I started talking about how they ruined Stumpy's characterization, and I was like, deep
Who?
down, everyone wants to be a toady, but deep down we're all like background character from Croak and Punishment. Like that would have made an awesome episode. But we're not even like doing any of that here. Like oh, Anthony, don't cut any of this out. Like dead ass. This is so fucking funny. Like we need to keep like this
Okay.
energy, this chaoticness. Oh
If I
my god,
would
I
cut
love
it
this.
out, I'd have to cut out like half of this episode, and then
Exactly, you
it'd
can't
be
do that. We're
this
too like
episode would
off
be
it.
like 5 minutes long. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, no. Garfield can't be cast, but every time Brian says something stupid, it speeds up, and it's like 10 seconds long.
Yeah, that's how it would be. Yeah, exactly. Um,
Honestly, but my point is, what really doesn't make sense is how does like the so Garfield's Pet Force was based off an actual Garfield comics that do exist. I'm never reading them because if they're as bad as this movie, I'm gonna jump out of. Actually, the only thing I did like is that the comic actually didn't look bad. Like the comic art style looked okay. That's all. But then the point is the Garfield's Pet Force exists in this world, but also more Garfield exists in like other places. And there's this whole thing of Garfield being like the whole thing of Garfield was like there's the comic exists, but also fucking like it actually happened and the Garfield comic predicted the thing and it's a whole fucking whatever and I hated it and it was just terrible. Didn't make any sense. I hated the jokes where actually there's some decent John Arbuckle characterization in this too. I'll appreciate that much. But no, there's been at the fucking part where Garfield's like, "Are you just a paid actor?" Doodly doodly doo. And the fucking Garzuka's there. And Garzuka's and the Garzuka's teaming up with them. They gotta form their whole fucking super team. And they're all so awesome. And it's like I hated it. It was so stupid. I actually despise this movie with all my life. It was so bad.
Another also
And
Garfield doesn't really do anything. He has an arc, a stupid fucking arc that like all of Garfield's arcs just like show a misunderstanding for the appeal of who he is. And I'm not even like a Garfield fan like you are. I'm like, but I know the basics of what he's
Jim
supposed to
Davis,
be.
write me back.
And it's like it's weird because Garfield
Ollie.
is supposed is like he's his entire arc is like being there for his friends and learning to get involved in these insane situations when like he's supposed to be lazy and not get involved in this type of insane shit. So he doesn't fit. Garfield and superheroes don't mix. I don't know who the hell thought of this idea. It's so bizarre and stupid and not in a
It's
funny
like
way.
literally
It
the
just
whole thing
doesn't.
of Garfield is that the appeal of him is that he's mundane, and you make him superheroes. Like, what happened to being
It's
grounded? What happened to
because
just being
nobody
like
cares. They
the
just thought of these the weirdest, most dumbest plots they could think of and put no effort into like them and like it's fucking torture. I hate it so much, so very much.
I genuinely felt like how but actually I can't say that. What can I say? You know, I've been saying everything tonight. But oh my god, the worst part of this movie was the fucking scene where where fucking Garfield and the other characters from this trilogy come in and they form a team and it might be the worst scene in anything ever. Like this is what a Freddy Got Fingered fan sees when he looks at an Anne speech. I just was so like, oh my god. I I was I hate all those fucking characters that they come together. Garfield's fucking gonna save the
They
day or
formed the
whatever. I'm
crazy
gonna be
crew,
honest.
which
I
I
forget how
remember
this
for
movie
some reason.
ends. I got distracted with with some of my Discord mutes. They showed me something funny. And even forget what like what was waffling. You know,
I
like I don't even know.
remember the Liz girl makes a giant robot, and even though I thought the thing could only like mismatch body parts and make them zombies somehow, who gives a shit of how that works? But and then she makes this monster. Then Garfield teams up with some people in town, and then they form this thing called the Crazy Crew for some reason. And then they try to take down this
I
robot.
hated that name. It was so gay. I don't know. Wait, gay is in like not happy, like ungay, because gay means happy. You know, like.
Yeah, yeah. And then they fight him, and I don't fucking know. I hate all these characters. They're annoying. They look ugly. I just don't like any of them. They have Yeah. And also Garfield's arc just feels forced as hell. It's a stupid arc. None of these movies understand here. They just think of the worst plots possible,
He has
plop
to
him
learn
into
to be
it.
a hero. What would he do? Even though it's nothing about what Garfield even is. Like he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that at
Exactly, these
all. He wouldn't
fucking
do that.
catchphrases, just like everything that's going on. There's no interesting humor. I can't think of a single memorable joke because there's just no energy, nothing unique about the way the comedy is delivered. There is no substance, nothing I like about any of these movies, if I'm being completely honest. I hate them all.
Mm.
Like, you can make a case for any of them being the worst one, even though I do think Gets Real is like slightly more tolerable. But I don't
Mm.
know. I think Gets Real is easily the
These are
best
all
out of
just
all
the
of these.
worst movies anyone has ever made, and I'm convinced that. Oh God! Oh my God! That's. Hold on. Sorry. I just saw something that really pissed me off. I might rant about this again if I need to go unhinged again, but all these movies are just like I hate them. Like
We have one
what good
last
is there? They all
movie.
misunderstand everything, and it just oh my God, like
Yeah.
I hate it.
I I hate the character design. Did I say that?
Yeah,
I think I
my
said that
bad.
like 50 times. Who can I
Mm.
don't know. Yeah, yeah, I had to like I swear everything I think of, everything I like think of in terms of issues are just so blatant in terms of like I
Yeah.
don't know. Can we just
And I
drop
will
our
say I do
ratings?
appreciate I will
I
say
swear if you
it's funny.
complimented
This
John
is the worst movie of
Arbuckle
all time.
characterization
But
again.
will say, I'm gonna turn this into a positive thing
All right.
because you can be so negative in the modern day. Even right now, I'm feeling very negative about this franchise. Think about it like this: this is the worst movie ever made, and it still has fantastic John and Liz characterization.
Okay, here we go. No, I don't.
You can always look positively. Like think about how
There's
well
nothing funny
defined.
about it though. Just because they
Yeah,
hate
but
each
John
other.
is like a cuck in this. That's totally what his character is. Like, mm.
That's the bare minimum though. There's nothing funny about it. Like, oh, he's
Anthony,
just incredibly stupid. Who cares? What?
Anthony, if I
What?
started dating John Arbuckle, would you support it?
No. Also, Jesus Christ, are you okay now? I think you're losing your
Like,
mind. Like,
I can fix him. I'm like,
I'm not
mm.
gonna
You know,
comment on that anymore.
you know those girls who like date like someone really toxic and are like, I can fix him. Like that's me, right? With John Arbuckle, I could make him not pathetic.
Jesus
I
Christ.
could. God, like honestly, I could like. Should I riz up John Arbuckle?
Okay,
I
let's get
like.
into the ratings. I'm giving this a 1 out of 10.
God, you're so fucking funny, Anthony. That's amazing. Oh God, I'm gonna miss you so much. Like later. Oh my God, you're just like you're one of the best people ever, maybe. But
Okay.
I'm giving Garfield's Pet Force a 1 out of 10. Whoa, did you expect
Okay,
that one?
now next film, okay, last one. I'm gonna have to dial it back a bit because now we're actually talking about a movie that was watchable and actually, it feels like this one. Okay, this is the Garfield movie, the new one that just released featuring Chris Pratt, which was announced around the time he was gonna
It's a
play
1 out of 10
Mario.
terrible piece of shit.
Okay, this is easily the best Garfield movie, easily.
It's
The
still awful.
Okay, let me finish. Um, this movie is not good. It's bad.
Birth of a
By
Nation better.
normal film standards,
That
it's
part's a joke for
bad.
the record.
I'm pretty sure most of the nonsense you say is a joke, and I'd be pretty concerned if you actually wanted to rizz up John Arbuckle.
Oh,
So,
who's to say that was a joke? Am I right, guys? Guys, if you
uh,
look like John Arbuckle, DM me on Twitter.
you really are gay, huh?
Look, okay, look, I'm tired of this. Everyone just thinks I'm gay because I act like because I cross my legs. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, it's just like, it's why these things in society, like, people are always conformed into. Hold on, why am I talking about this in a Garfield episode? Hold on.
Why did it?
Uh,
Why are you the way that you are?
You love it. You laugh. You laugh. Come on. Come
Okay.
on.
All right. Okay. Now talk
Anthony,
about
Anthony, we
actual
rate our
movie. I need to get back
comic.
into Anthony normal campy cast state instead of
Oh,
just being
I'm sorry,
absolutely
Anthony. I'm
depressed and
too far
miserable
gone for
for a
that.
moment. Anyways, so this movie right here is not that bad. It's actually like watchable. So this film has like So basically, worst part of this movie, like the marketing for this first off was literally everywhere. Like Jesus, you could not avoid Garfield in the month of May.
I think it was really interesting for the marketing to include an ad that said orange and salty, just like my nuts. And
Bro's getting that
I'm
mixed
gonna
up with the
drown you to
Grinch.
death in my orange lasagna. That was
That's a
that was some pretty wild
that
that
was
was some
very
pretty wild marketing, I think.
uh-huh.
Uh,
Anyways, so this movie is bad. It's not good, but anyways, let's
it's terrible,
I
and I
liked a
know
few
people out
things
there
about it
are.
though.
See, the thing is, people now are gonna be like, "Well, it's actually not that bad." But you know what? I'm still committing to this bit. They're all 1 out of 10s. This movie is dog shit or cat shit or whatever. Actually, Odie's a dog, so it still fits. Anyway, what I actually hate about this movie is hold on, actually I have a quote. Anthony, you talk while I pull up the quote I'm gonna say.
Yes,
You
so
say
this
say something.
movie follows like a different plot. So Garfield so we get introduced to Garfield's dad over here. This does not take place in the same universe as the last three. Thank heaven. We get introduced to his dad, and Garfield gets roped into a heist to go retrieve some milk from a farm, so that way his
Oh, I
dad
got
could
it.
pay back this
I got the
cat.
quote.
So let me finish with this summary. So now they gotta go this heist, and on the way they try to like reconnect in some way, except they don't really, and they do it in a kind of forced way, and it's kind of the biggest issue with the movie. Anyway, so what's your quote?
Okay, hold on. Tinder was mentioned in this film. A film kids are going to see.
Wow. Okay. Anyways, um, yeah, this movie was not good. I did actually weirdly like a few things about this movie. Mainly the animation is actually really good. I like
Oh
how
my god.
express it was pretty expressive, some actually good posing. Like there's some good slapstick in this specific scene where Garfield and Vic's his dad's name, by the way. They meet with this cow, and then there's actually some like good slapstick with this cow. I don't know. Like there's some in the training montage, like the beef training session.
YMS would
I
add
actually
someone
kind
to
of liked it,
confirm
you
you
know.
like
I
cow.
like that. I didn't mind it. Um
Yeah, I don't mind YMS either, but
I'm talking
um
oh my god, Jesus. Any what do you have to say about this movie and exactly?
uh okay, well actually I have a very interesting perspective on this movie where um I think the main thing about this is they kind of ruin the sort of parental struggle because the thing is Garfield he has a lack of a father figure, which kind of ruins the fact that everyone wants to be him. Because the whole thing is deep down, we're all John Arbuckle. So wouldn't John having the daddy issues make more sense?
What?
You know?
Okay. What about
Okay, hold
okay.
on. I'm gonna pretend to be normal for like a couple minutes. Let me see if I can do this.
Yeah, try and do that because I'm pretty sure I
Okay, okay,
already
okay, okay, okay,
recovered
okay,
from
okay, okay. I think I can
earlier
do it.
when I started getting
The
really
main thing I
mad.
will say is the Garfield Garfield. I'm twitching on again. Goddamn. Garfield, I think has some interesting aspects in the fact that it certainly is animated well. They got after all fucking Mark Dindal, the Emperor's New Groove guy. So certainly when it comes to character posing and character expressions, there's gonna be some stuff to appreciate. That being said, I just do not like any of the drama in this movie. It feels very forced. I
Yeah.
don't like the whole fucking for some reason, Garfield's randomly pulled in this kidnapping plot, and Garfield's like, wah, daddy, bah, 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 daddy wasn't there. Take me to the fair. It seems he
Uh-huh.
doesn't care. Bah. Now that whole thing happens, and he's like the whole thing is well they do my main beef of this movie is they do the same conflict twice where Garfield's like, wow, dad, you abandoned me as a kid, and then he goes, no, son, I did not abandon you. I actually was trying to protect you. And then he goes, "Well, Dad, I guess I understand, and maybe we'll have a close bond now, Dad. I love you." And then he goes, "I love you too, son." And then they hug, and there's like flowers. But then in the ending heist, he abandons him again, and Garfield goes, "Wow, my dad abandoned me again. I hate Vic." And then he like fucking does an arm cross. But then he learns, oh no, he was doing it to protect me and he actually did care about me and I'm actually really well liked and wow, and he does actually appreciate my presence. And then it's just like he goes back and first of all, it doesn't make sense because Garfield just kind of infers all this on his own.
Yeah,
Like
it's
he
weird
just kind of
because
mouth pieces.
earlier in the
He mouth.
movie, he so
Mhm.
basically he takes the milk truck after they did their big heist, and he abandons Garfield, and him and Odie get taken by animal control. And then like Garfield just thinks, oh, he did it all on purpose because he wanted to protect us because he knew that the cat was gonna betray him. But then when there's a scene before that where he acts almost like surprised that the cat was gonna betray him, like you think he would just leave or like maybe go somewhere else, kind of trying to separate from the cat or something, I
Oh shit.
guess, and just didn't want to take his son with him. But like it seemed like he didn't know about the double cross. So Garfield just
Mhm.
randomly made this shit up for some reason. It's fucking weird. Uh and I don't know, like the connection between Garfield and his dad, it feels like there wasn't really many moments where I felt like an actual connection. It really feels like the only moment was like the scene where he kind of tries to justify his parental actions, and like how he left Garfield and why he did. And then all of a sudden they're just kind of cool now. Like there wasn't really much of a moment where it felt like there was an actual genuine father-son connection between them, which I feel like might have not been anything truly amazing, but it would have at least elevated it to a moderately more okay movie in my mind. But
Mm.
oh well.
I- Yeah, I just didn't buy the whole thing. I hated Chris Pratt too. It's like, oh,
I'm
look
gonna
at
be
me, I'm
honest.
Chris.
Frank Welker
See,
is like he worked as Garfield. The issue with it is that the movies used him incredibly poorly. So like
the thing is, I think Frank Welker is a great Garfield voice. He just sounds depressed in all of them, which is fair.
which
But
is not fitting for the type of stories those movies are
mm.
trying to tell, so it just ruins
Yo,
them
Frank
more.
Welker, if you ever wanna join the podcast, hit me up in DMs. We can arrange something. But I'm sure Frank Welker is an avid listener of this podcast. But um, funny, that's like a weird thing to say, but it's like normal
It's
compared to
tame
everything
compared to
else I
some of the
know.
stuff you were saying
Yeah,
earlier in this
yeah.
episode.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
but
man, Matthew never acts weird. That's what they're thinking. But
bullshit.
yeah. Anyway, the point is, I just didn't buy his voice, and people are gonna be like, "Oh well, he sounded bad. He actually looks like he's decent in the movie." Like, no, no, he just sounds shit.
It's
The
like
design
it's
looks
not.
like
I
shit,
didn't
as the
like
cast of characters, like, do
despise
not give
it.
a crap about.
I
Like,
didn't despise
I
his
just
voice,
didn't
but I'll
like it.
admit it was like kind of inconsistent. At times it felt like it was just him, but at times it just felt like he was trying to do a Garfield impression, and like I don't know, it's not a great voice. It felt kind
Yeah,
of
I thought it was
inconsistent
just
at parts. So
yeah, it really is that bad. I just hated him.
Um,
But anyway,
animation,
mm,
like we said, is good. It's definitely the highlight. Like, there's a lot of
uh,
like good food animation. Like, there's some good looking food here. Like, there's lasagna. That looks like some good lasagna. I'd like
yeah,
that.
people are like, "Oh my god, the lasagna looks so tasty. Oh my
It
god,
does. It
yeah."
does
Like,
though. It does. Am I? It
I don't know.
it does look good.
It felt kind of like a basic compliment to me.
I don't
Like,
really understand
like,
it.
like, like, like this is like to use metaphors. This is the Starbucks girls, Garfield. You know.
What? Okay, I think you're still partially unhinged. I think you're gonna need
I
some
don't
more
know.
time to recover. I see. Um, anyways, moving forward, I
Moving
guess there
forward.
was some like I guess I did kind of like the Ving Rhames cow character. I thought he was kind of fun. I thought I kind of liked him. I liked it.
It was okay.
Maybe it might just because I like his voice and it was cool seeing him. So I kind of liked him, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
Samuel
all
L.
right.
Jackson. I didn't mind him as Garfield's dad. Really, I just didn't really like Chris Pratt, if I'm being honest.
It was lame. And actually, you know the worst thing about this movie is they were so okay. I'm gonna go on another rant here. So bear with me, Anthony.
All right.
But what I really hated is that they thought I assume they were in like a fucking marketing room because all these movies are made by fucking committee, and they're like, all right, well, what's a funny joke we can put in? And they're like, all right, huh, what if we make Snoop Dogg
A
voice a
cat.
cat?
Ah.
and
Yeah.
and then
That's
and,
just
and then they were
lame.
all rolling on the floor. I imagine it was like that smiling friend scene where Gleb spits and everyone in the office laughs at the same time. Like that's probably what it looked like.
Yeah. It
Mm.
was
Like,
very.
it's such a lame, it's such a basic like Starbucks white girl joke. So I was like, come on,
It is a
that
pretty lame
sucks.
joke. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Mm.
Um.
Yeah,
Let's see. What?
and then that whole
There's.
thing happened.
Um. I guess also there's another really fucking stupid thing. So the henchmen of the main villain cat just like decide to like turn against her after they realize that Garfield and his dad like each other now. So it's just kind of stupid. It's dumb. And they literally say the message of the movie when it comes to like spelling out this connection they
They're
formed, and it's
so
so fucking
unsubtle, and I
dumb.
hate it when movies do like,
I
come on,
do hate
you
it.
can
Yeah,
like
it's dumb.
twist it.
It's fucking annoying. I didn't like that.
It is, it is.
And in general, I
Uh,
don't know. I had some fun with this movie. Like, there's some decent slapstick, good animation. It's like I don't know. I didn't hate my. I don't know. It's like tolerable, but it's just not a. It's not very good. Like at all. Like from a story point of view, there's just not much to it. It's like it really does continue to strengthen the idea that Garfield should never really be a movie. And when it is a movie, it just pulls out random ideas that like destroy somebody's sanity.
None of these movies make one just make anything worth it. This is the best Garfield movie if I'm gonna take off my
Easily. It
like
feels the most like a
sane
movie. I
person.
actually
I'm
enjoyed
gonna take
things
off
about it.
my I'm gonna take out my fucking Charlie Kelly Pepe Sylvia ass rant here. This is the best Garfield movie, but still, I just don't like it at all. I think it has a I story wise, it felt very lame. I didn't get
I
invested
agree
in
with that, yeah.
anything. A lot of it is very trite, and I don't know. I don't even think I have much more to say. Just this lame jokes. I didn't like the villain. Odie's just weird. I don't know why Odie was there when he's gonna fucking do nothing the entire time. And Garfield likes
That's
Odie, which
true.
again, you know what? They fucking character assassinated Odie. And that his oh wait, you know what I did? I hate the fucking drone jokes though. I thought those were really lame. Like, ooh,
They
look, we
mentioned the
order food
fucking
online.
Top
That's
Gun
so funny.
Maverick and the Mission Impossible references were very lame. So I wasn't a
Yeah,
huge fan of
yeah.
those. What's another
Mhm.
thing I was gonna mention? Oh yeah, they have this stupid other joke where instead of Netflix, there it's Catflix,
I
which
hated that. That was such a
and it's
it was such a
cat
lame parody. Like
videos.
you're just gonna place the beginning prefix with like some that sucks. That's so lame. I
It is
hated
pretty.
it. A
It's
lot
just
of
not that funny. Like it really. There's like this one
there weren't
joke
a
I
lot of
felt
like
like
God this sucks jokes, but there were a lot of I kind of eye
this
rollers. You know,
this
like
this
okay.
one joke I didn't like was the scene where they're like doing this plan and then Garfield is being represented by this dead possum and then it just goes on and on with this stupid joke even though it feels like been a joke I've seen like 1,000 times in a movie almost. I don't know when they're I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't maybe it's just lame. It just dragged on for way too long. Could have been more funny if they just like made it like a subtle like visual when we just see the disgust of his face seeing the dead possum and they just moved on from there, but instead they just dragged it on. And yeah, I can't really remember much any time I actually laughed other than a bit of a smile during the some of the slapstick bits I found good,
Mm.
like the
You
scene
know
where
what
they
I did
try
actually
and break
appreciate is
into
honestly, Anthony.
the
I
cheese
think we
the
finally
milk
got it.
factory was kind of had some cool visuals.
Oh,
I didn't mind
it
that.
looked all right. At visual level, this movie is great. That's just the main thing I can compliment it for. So it feels a little, so a little style over substance in that sense. There was this one actually the my favorite and least favorite bit come from the beginning because I hate fucking baby Garfield. Oh, look how cute he is. We're gonna make him more fucking. It felt like a marketing thing. Like, oh, it's like so adorable. Like, I didn't like that. I don't know if that was intentional. I just don't like it. Like, oh, let's make Garfield cute. Like, okay, is anything safe? But anyway, what I did like is, I'm gonna be honest, it's taken us 6 movies, hours of this podcast, decades of Jim Davis going for different Garfield projects. We finally found it. The perfect John Arbuckle characterization. We did. Pat Force got close. Funfest had a moment. this is it. Because think about it. John is terrible with women. He's pathetic. And no one likes him. And he's such a pushover, he lets his pets boss him around. It's the perfect descriptor of what I've wanted for so long. They did it. They fixed John Arbuckle. I'm
Wow,
actually so happy. Anthony, how
I'm
did you feel about
so
that?
happy. Yeah, it's great.
Shut up. I would, actually, I will say one thing I don't like is I would not edge this John Arbuckle design. I don't fuck with it. Like,
What's diff
get me
what?
actually. We'll see if I'm ranking the movies by how hot John is. I think this one would be last place. And
Okay.
how do I rank these? Cause okay. Then after this, okay, Fun Fest would be at the top because he in his disco outfit he kind of then in then, oh Jesus, am I allowed to say that, Anthony? Do you think I've gone a little too far?
Yes.
Uh, uh it's funny though, at least.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways, just
Anyway,
I don't know. I think I said most of everything I pretty much wanted to say about
I
this movie.
think I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 10.
Actually, one more thing, I guess. I just do not like the idea of baby Garfield. It's like it's so fucking lame. Like,
See, thank you. You get it, Anthony.
it's
You get
stupid.
it.
It's
Like,
stupid because fucking it's an annoying trope when they just get, oh, it's a cute baby character. Oh, look at the cute
they're
baby. Go
definitely
see
gonna.
the movie.
I haven't seen anything, but I would not be surprised if they're fucking throwing around merch of that thing.
Oh yeah,
Like,
they
I
did. They
would
did.
just.
They did.
Oh, of course they did.
Yeah.
Damn.
Uh
I mean, Garfield is a franchise built on merchandising fucking everything, so that's not wholly shocking,
oh
but
my God, how did I forget this? They have Normal at the end. Did you see the Normal
Yeah,
cameo?
we have to live with.
Ah.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna say something right now.
What?
There is a Looney Tunes cartoon where it's really funny. There's some great slapstick. It's all great. And the last 10 seconds, Bugs Bunny does blackface. That is how I felt seeing about the last 10 seconds of this movie.
Damn.
That's all. 1 out of
You
10
prefer
for normal.
racism over Normal. Wow.
Oh,
Is
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that normal might be elemental tier racist as a character, so if it gets close to
this
that, I wouldn't
episode
be
is
surprised.
literally if the Elemental segment was stretched out for a full Campy Cast episode.
Hmm. Legit. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Anyways, yeah, I give
Anyway,
this movie
Anthony, would
a
you give it a
4 out of
one as
10.
well? You gave the Garfield movie a 4.
Yeah.
There we go.
Anyways,
Um, Thank you, everyone.
thank you for
If you're now
go.
thinking, wow, if you're not thinking, wow, we really do need a break from Campy Cast, I do too. So there we
Yeah.
go. Uh, to be slightly sincere in this episode where I've been bullshitting the entire time, thank you everyone for continuing to listen to this podcast. It's been a pleasure to keep up with all these years. And even though it'll be kind of weird not doing it for a month, we'll be back better and stronger. And I
Yeah.
assume our boy Xander is going to do a bunch of podcasts while I'm away to try to steal our crowd, which I would be petty over, but what are we going to like fucking record a podcast on the beach? The beaches? That's wild.
I think I
Thank you,
need a
everybody.
vacation after this episode, and you're actually
Yeah,
getting one, but oh well.
yeah.
Anyways, I'm
We
giving
need a
this.
break for this whole thing, as to say. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and bye bye.